A man much smarter than I am once described a racket as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people, where only a small group of insiders know what is really going on, and they operate for the benefit of a few and at the expense of basically everyone else.
64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker, and today we look at Trust Me, I'm Lying. Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Ryan Holiday. So how about you slow down and relax? Reduce all that noise for just a bit. Make that choice and decide to listen. In this video, we look at a book highlighting the tactics, and every one of them highlighted in this book, revealing a critical vulnerability in our media system. Stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools I do have and use that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you. What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and relationship management. See, we have a media system designed to trick, hold, and steal every second of the most precious resource in the world, people's time. There is no other definition for the modern media system. It is a racket. And its very business model rests on exploiting the difference between perception and reality, pretending that it produces the quality news we once classified as journalism, without adhering to any of the standards or any of the practices that actually do define it. The economics of the internet are exploited to change public perception and then sell product. We live in a world of many hustlers, and you are the mark. The con is to build a brand off the backs of others. Your attention and your credulity are being stolen. Most people do not understand how today's information cycle really actually works. Many have no idea of how much their general worldview is influenced by the way news is generated, and generated online. What begins online ends offline. It doesn't matter how many followers someone actually has if what they produce ends up going viral. Think about it. Where do people find stuff today? They find it online. This is just as true for normal people as it is for the so-called gatekeepers. If something is being chatted about on Facebook or on Twitter or on Reddit, it will make its way through all of the forms of media and eventually into culture itself. Now that is a fact. We are governed by public opinion, and public opinion is largely governed by the press. So isn't it critical to understand what governs the press? What rules over the media rules over the country. And in case you didn't catch it, here's the cycle again. Political blogs, they need things to cover. Traffic increases during election. Now, reality, election being far away, does not align with this. So political blogs create candidates early. gravitating towards the absurd and towards controversial. The election cycle starts earlier. Now, the person they cover by the virtue of coverage becomes actual candidate or even president. See, blogs profit. Literally, the public loses. The economics of the internet created a twisted set of incentives that make traffic more important and even more profitable than the truth. When we do understand the logic that drives these business choices, those choices become predictable, and what is predictable can be anticipated, it can be redirected, it can be accelerated or even controlled, however you or I choose. Here's how it works. There are thousands of content creators scouring the web looking for things to write about. They must write several times each day. Now, this is no easy task, so bloggers search Twitter, Facebook, comments sections, press releases, rival blogs, and other sources to develop their material. Where else are they going to get it? There is no time for investigative reporting. Now, above them are hundreds of mid-level online and offline journalists at various websites and various blogs and in magazines and in newspapers, who actually use those bloggers below them as sources and filters. They also have to write constantly and engage in the same search for buzz, only a little more developed. Now, above them are the major national websites, publications, and television stations. Finally, between, above, and throughout these concentric levels is actually the largest group, us, the audience. We scan the web for material that we can watch, that we can comment on, or share with our friends and our followers. It's actually bloggers informing bloggers, informing bloggers, all the way down. Now, this isn't anecdotal observation. This is a fact. Recklessness, laziness, however you want to categorize it. The attitude is openly tolerated and even acknowledged. The majority of journalists surveyed admitted to knowing that their online sources were less reliable than traditional ones. Not a single journalist said that they actually believe that the information gathered from social media was a lot more reliable than traditional media. It is a simple illusion. Create the perception that the meme already exists, and then all the reporter or the music supervisor or celebrity stylist is doing is just popularizing it. They rarely bother to look past those first impressions. When all it takes is one story to propel a blog from the dredges of the internet to the mainstream notoriety, then it shouldn't come as a surprise that sites will do anything to get their shot, even if it means manufacturing or stealing scoops and deceiving both readers and advertisers in the process. See, Holiday wrote about how sites engage in an endless chase for revenue through page views, and that is actually what they do. However, blogs are not intended to be profitable and independent businesses. The tool they use to build traffic and to build their revenue are part of a larger play. See, blogs are built to be sold. Though they make substantial revenue from advertising, the real money is in selling the entire site to a larger company for a multiple of the traffic and earnings. usually to a rich sucker. See, Weblog Inc. was sold to AOL for $25 million. Huffington Post was sold to AOL for $315 million in cash, with its owner, Arianna Huffington, deliberately eschewing the opportunity to wait and to build for an IPO. TechCrunch was sold to AOL for $30 million. Discovery bought the blog Tree Hugger for $10 million. Ars Technica was sold to Condé Nast for more than $20 million. Know Your Meme was acquired by Cheeseburger Media for 7 figures. Fox Sports Interactive purchased the sports blog network Yardbarker. Desperation, as a media manipulator knows, is the greatest quality you can hope for in a potential victim. Each blog is its own mini Ponzi scheme for which traffic growth is more important than solid finances, brand recognition more important than trust, and scale more important than business sense. Blogs are built so someone else will want them. One stupid buyer cashing out the previous ones and millions of dollars in exchange for essentially a worthless asset. See, threaten people's 3 B's: behavior, belief, or belongings, and you get a huge virus-like dispersion. You and we know that it is generally just the best and the most valuable things that do not find their echo immediately. Things must be negative, but not too negative. Hopelessness and despair, well, these drive us to do nothing. Pity and empathy, they drive us to do something like get up from our computers and act. But anger, fear, excitement, laughter, and outrage, these actually drive us to spread. They drive us to do something that makes us feel as if we are doing something, when in reality we are only contributing to what is probably a superficial and utterly meaningless conversation. Blogs don't care about the issues they are provoking outrage about, and social networks do not care what people are being social about. They do care about what it means for them, how much traffic and how much time on site it actually generates. There's this naive belief that readers do have: if the news is important, I will hear about it. I would actually argue the opposite. It is mostly the least important news that will actually find you. It is the extreme stuff that cuts through the noise. It's the boring information, the secret stuff that people don't want you to know. Now that you will actually miss. That's the stuff you have to subscribe to, you have to pay for, that you actually have to chase. Whereas subscriptions are about trust, single-use traffic is all immediacy and impulse, even if the news has to be distorted to actually trigger it. Our news is what rises, and what rises is what spreads, and what spreads is what makes us angry or makes us laugh. Our media diet has quickly transformed into junk food, fake stories. As the trading up the chain scam makes clear, the media is no longer governed by a set of universal editorial and ethics standards, even within publications. The burden of proof for the print version of a newspaper might differ drastically from what reporters need to go live with the blog post. As media outlets grapple with tighter deadlines, smaller staff, many of the old standards for verification, confirmation, and for fact-checking are becoming impossible to maintain. Every blog has its own editorial policy, but few of them actually disclose it to readers. The conditions on which the delegation of trust and the link economy do need to operate properly no longer exists. But our habits remain. They have been mixed into a potent combination. The result is often embarrassing and contagious misinformation. Blogs have long traded on the principle that links imply credibility. Even Google exploits this perception. The search engine founded by Larry Page and Serge Brin when they were Stanford students copies a standard practice from academia, in which the number of citations a scientific paper gets is actually an indicator of how influential or how important it truly is. But academic papers are reviewed by peers and editorial boards. Shaky citations are hard to get away with. If readers give sites just seconds on the titles, how much effort will they expend weighing whether a blog post meets the burden of proof? The number of posts we read conscientiously, like some amateur copy editor or fact checker all rolled into one, are far outpaced by the number of articles we just assume are actually reliable. And the material for one site quickly makes its way to others. Scandalous statements, they get traction wider and faster. And their dubious nature is more likely to be obscured by the link economy when it is moving at a viral speed. One of the ways that journalists justify their laziness today is by claiming that breaking news deserves special exemption from their normal obligation to, actually be right and pass along correct information. That during a mass shooting, fast-moving election night, some unexpected controversy, there isn't any time to do real reporting. And so it is better to just pass along the information they do have to the readers and viewers as it comes in. There are a lot of words that we use to describe this technique. Iterative journalism, process journalism, even beta journalism. Whatever name you use, it is actually stupid and it's dangerous. They toss the news narrative into the stream without taking full ownership and pretend to be an impartial observer of a process that actually they began. Increasingly smart media manipulators have realized that one way to make things seem real is by straight up gaslighting. Political campaigns, CEOs, foreign governments, they can actually pay to create accounts that then bombard influencers like journalists with information. You can see why these strategies would work if done on a large scale. If you were a reporter and you saw that a petition had 60,000 signatures, would you bother to investigate where those signatures came from? If you were an editor and you suddenly had 15 emails pointing you to the same link, might you pass it along to the writer to actually cover it? If you were a public figure and you kept getting tweets about something, maybe you would reply and ask, has anyone heard about this? And even in questioning it, you would have helped push the fake idea along. If it were simply a matter of breaking to the endemic arrogance of bloggers and publishers, iterative journalism might be fixable, But the reality is that even learning iteratively does not work for readers either, not even a little. See, think of Wikipedia, which provides a good example of the iterative process. By 2010, the article on the Iraq War had accumulated more than 12,000 edits, enough to fill 12 volumes and 7,000 printed pages. See, someone actually did the math for an artistic book project. Impressive, no doubt. But that number obscures the fact that through the 12,000 changes collectively result in a coherent, most accurate depiction, it is not what the most people looked at Wikipedia in the last decade and saw. Most of them did not consume it as a final product. No, it was actually read and replied upon and piecemeal, and while it was still under construction. Thousands of other Wikipedia pages actually link to it. Thousands of more blogs use it as a reference. Hundreds of thousands of people read these links and then formed their opinions accordingly. Each corrected mistake, each change, each addition in this light is not a triumph, but actually a failure. Because for a time, the article was wrongly presented as being correct or being complete, even though it was in a constant state of flux. It used to be that someone had to be a national hero before you actually got the privilege of the media and the public turning on you. You had to be a president. You had to be a millionaire. You had to be an artist. Now, we tear people down just as we begun to build them up. Now, we do this to our fame balls, our viral video stars, our favorite new companies, even random citizens who simply pop into the news because they did something interesting, unusual, or even stupid. First we celebrate them, then we turn to snark, and then finally to merciless decimation. And there you have it. Trust me, I'm lying. Confessions of a media manipulator. Now please do help out. It is easy. Simply like this video so more people can enjoy it. Share it too and spread the word. Do leave a comment and share your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel and stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below. So buy it, read, never stop learning. Especially learning about yourself and nature. So gift yourself by taking the free humanist test on my website and actually find out what is it that motivates you? What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and all of your behavior? And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and your relationship management even further, do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.